Today's episode is brought to you by Mazars. Sound Cartel. With the recent Optus data breach impacting around 10 million Australians, alarm bells are blaring for businesses across the board. Worried Optus customers are waiting to see if or how badly they'll be impacted, and the Optus brand is in tatters. So, it's time to take stock. Can your clients or customers have confidence in your data security? From Sound Cartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. As bad as it is, large-scale data breaches can motivate businesses to review their own cybersecurity. Just before the Optus breach, I spoke to Adam Selwood, Chief Technical Officer and co-founder of Cynch Security, and he said then that the situation is a powder keg waiting to explode. He says the rapid, recent uptake of new technologies have left many businesses vulnerable, but that security is still achievable. Adam takes a step back and tells me just how bad the cybercrime situation is for business.
Yeah, we've seen a rapid adoption of technology among small businesses, and along with the technology adoption is the risk is accelerating. It's getting quite serious for many businesses, and cyber criminals have figured that out. They know businesses are reliant on technology and they're going after them. They're not necessarily going after a single individual business, but they're going after all businesses, just blanketing the entire internet. Everything about the cybersecurity situation at the moment is evolving rapidly. Every 8 minutes, apparently, there's a cybersecurity incident being reported to the federal government, and that's information from a couple of years old, so it's probably even worse than that at the moment. We're seeing the attacks accelerating. There's a lot of them going on at the moment, but we're also seeing that the harm and the damage that's being caused for small businesses because they're so reliant on technology nowadays is also increasing. So if businesses aren't thinking about, they need to start thinking about pretty quickly.
What role has the pandemic played in all of this? Because it does seem like cybercrime has scaled dramatically since the pandemic.
Yeah, it's significant role. To think back 3 years ago and imagine that we would all be working from home half of the time, or it's uncommon to find a place where you can pay with cash, or people didn't know what a QR code was and didn't have mobile apps to scan them. Like, everyone is reliant on this. And technology has just become so fundamental to business and actually just even society that, that's only as a result of the pandemic, really. I think I heard the other day, it's without the pandemic, we'd still be sort of 10 years behind technology adoption. It caused us a lot of problems and challenges, and we all rapidly had to shift to adopting technology, and we all had to make fast decisions, get on with things. And, the reality was that was appropriate. But now we've reached a point where that technology is now so fundamental and we didn't necessarily put all the things in place that we should have, so we've left ourselves exposed. And so criminals are starting to capitalize on that and target it. And so the forced adoption of technology, the speed at which we had to do that, all of that has left us in a vulnerable state. It's a situation that's a bit of a powder keg at the moment, and it's really just a matter of time for any of us.
So what is actually at risk?
All parts of a business are at risk. If you have a team that works remotely using Slack or Teams or Google Meet, any of those sorts of technologies, and they go away, or someone's account in there is compromised, that's going to be a really bad day, a really bad week, all sorts of problems in your business and organization. The other issue that we see is particular industries and particular businesses collect all sorts of information and rely on that in their business. Some of it is quite sensitive. And as that moves to the cloud, as it goes online, as more people are able to access it remotely, theoretically, there's more opportunity for that information to get out to be accessed by the wrong people. So can be quite serious. And we're actually seeing the legislative circumstances increasing and becoming quite problematic. So if you do lose access to that information or something happens to it, we're actually seeing people being fined by the government, people being taken to court, all sorts of things going on. And then lastly, the trust that we have with our customers as businesses. And as increasingly your interactions with your customers and your clients is happening through technology, that provides opportunities for criminals to get in the middle and potentially undermine that or use that for their own purposes. And that can be really dramatic for many businesses if their reputation is undermined, and if you're not thinking about it, and if you're not putting things in place to try to stop it. The chances are that you're going to be a victim to an attack at some stage. And so that's something that we always want to see and encourage businesses to think about and start to plan for and start to avoid if they can.
That reputational piece is important, as well as the financial damage that could come of all of this is an issue too. So if I'm concerned about my security or the security of my business, what are the first steps that I should take?
Yeah, well, the first step is to figure out what you have. It's really hard to know what to secure if you don't know what you've got. So just take 5-10 minutes, sit down and just step through your day and think about all the different technology you interact with. Just write it all down. So it's going to be the computer that you're logging into, your phone or whatever you're using to do business from home in the morning, all those cloud services that we use to interact with our team or our clients, social media accounts, email, websites, your CRM, your accounting software, everything. Those apps that you've got installed that are fundamental to being able to do things, just write them all down. That's a really important first step. From there, then, that gives you a starting point to think about. Then you can find that stuff that you're really uncomfortable with. If something happened there, that'd be really problematic for us. So think about that one in particular, figure out whether or not there's anything you can do with it based on what you've got. And then from there, you might want to think about reaching out to someone who's a bit of an expert in that technology or an IT person or ideally a cybersecurity professional to give you a bit of advice on what other options you've got. But cyber risk isn't necessarily just going to be going after technology. So don't just think about installing the latest and greatest antivirus and you're done. It's about also training and keeping your staff aware of the latest scams that are going on, helping them to spot a dodgy email and avoid clicking on links, helping them to let you know when there's something fishy happening. It's also about business processes, making sure that when someone does send you an email that's trying to trick you into changing account details, that you're calling your client or your supplier back up and you're validating that information. These are just procedural type things that you can put into your business. It's appropriate then to start to sort of reach out, become aware of some of the other concerns and types of situations you might be able to avoid and get a bit of help if you're not comfortable working on that yourself.
That was Adam Selwood, Chief Technical Officer and co-founder of Cynch Security. This episode of Business Essentials Daily is produced by the team at Sound Cartel. Thanks for listening. I'm Nicole Goodman. We'll bring you more Be Daily tomorrow. Follow @BE Daily Podcast across social media and head to bedaily.com.au for more from the Business Essentials Daily podcast. Sound Cartel. This episode was brought to you by Mazars. To find out more, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.